First, use the long tail cast on method to cast on half the number of stitches that you need for your project plus 1 stitch. I'm going to make my swatch on 10 stitches, so I cast on 6. If you work in the round, then don't add that extra stitch and cast on half of the stitches that you need for your project, and that's it, no extra stitches. If you work back and forth, then turn your work. If you work in the round, then arrange stitches for working in the round. And this is the first step of the process. The second step is super easy. We bring the yarn to the front of the work and we purl 1 stitch. That's it. Nothing fancy. The trick that turns the long tail cast on into an almost tubular cast on comes in the third step. We bring the yarn to the back of the work, and then we move the tip of the right needle down and to the back of the edge. We practically diving under the edge and emerging from the other side of it. And then we wrap the needle with the yarn as we do when we knit a stitch and move that wrap from under the cast on edge, forming a new stitch. And that's it. Now we repeat these 2 steps. Bring the yarn to the front, purl. Bring the yarn to the back, dive, wrap, pull the yarn out. Make sure this stitch is not too loose. If it is, then the edge will be messy. So if necessary, pull the yarn a bit to tighten the stitch. And repeat these steps until you get to the end of the round or until you get to the last stitch of the row. Let's see how this process works when we hold yarn in our right hand. We bring the yarn to the front, purl 1 stitch, then move the yarn to the back, dive underneath the cast on edge, wrap the tip of the right needle with the yarn, move it out, and we've got ourselves a new stitch. See, the process is the same no matter whether you hold the yarn in your right hand or your left hand. The steps are exactly the same. When you work back and forth, you will end up with 1 stitch on your left needle, and you purl that stitch. Count your stitches. If you work in the round, most likely you have the number of stitches that you need for your project, and that's good. If you work back and forth and the pattern calls for an odd number of stitches, then most likely you are also set. But if you work back and forth and you need an even number of stitches, that's when you need to make an adjustment. Remember that extra stitch, it's still here in the work. And right now, I have 11 stitches on my needle, even though my target number was 10. So how do I get rid of that extra stitch? I do it in the first row. I work in simple knit 1, purl 1 ribbing until I get to the last 2 stitches of the row. And I purl these 2 stitches together. That's it. The extra stitch is gone. Now I have 10 stitches and I'm good to start working on my project. Let's take a look at the edge. All these special steps made an edge that looks very much like an edge formed by the true tubular cast-on method. See, look at that. They're very, very, very similar. The only difference is the elasticity. The true tubular cast-on forms an elastic edge, and the faux tubular cast-on forms an edge that is not as elastic. But on the other hand, it keeps its shape remarkably well. So it is a great choice for most necklines, cuffs, bottom bands, even bands of hats that are not tightly fitting. And we get this nicely rounded edge with very little effort, no setup rows, no twists even when we work in the round. Just a simple method that makes a beautiful edge that blends in perfectly with 1x1 ribbing. If you find this tutorial helpful, please subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to be notified every time I publish a new video. Happy knitting, my friend. I'll talk to you in the next tutorial.